It was not long ago that I struggled with meeting deadlines for certain projects, and then I discovered the simple technique that overnight, just like magic, made it easier for me to never feel like that again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create momentum for effortless productivity. Hey friend, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Dan, and in this channel we explore the strategies and tools to become more effective and productive. So, if you're anything like me and you're always looking for ways to work smarter rather than harder, please consider subscribing to the channel. And now, let's continue with this video. So to create momentum, first you need to figure out exactly what you need to do. Second, you break it down until you get to the smallest unit of action. And third, we're gonna use the 2-minute rule to beat procrastination. This strategy works every time, whether you like the task or you hate it. And it only takes a few minutes to start. Let's say you have a deadline due tomorrow and you really want to get work done. You're confident in your skills, you know you can do it. You have everything in place, you did all the research, you know the how, the why, and the when. And yet, here you are, procrastinating with procrastination videos. You know what I mean. One does not simply accept procrastination until it's too late. Maybe you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not really procrastinating, I'm just taking a short break. Or, I'm planning this project in my mind as I do another task. Stuff like that. We all have reasons to avoid what we need to do. Maybe you're too optimistic about work. Maybe you don't have enough time. Or you have too many distractions, you don't know where to start, you're too perfectionist, or you just don't feel like it. Wouldn't it be great to feel good about work? Imagine how easy it would be. Here's what I like the most. It has nothing to do with your mindset, so you no longer need to fight your own thoughts. With the techniques that I'm going to share in this video, working will become better than you ever thought possible. But to do that, we have to expose the biggest lie about procrastination. Are you ready? Here it goes. How you feel before work has nothing to do with how you feel after it. Did you get that? So what causes you to change from one state to another? That is what it's called momentum. Momentum is what makes work easy or hard, yet not many people talk about it. Maybe you feel overwhelmed with tasks, or you don't know which strategies to try out of the many that you have learned. Or perhaps you accepted that work has to be hard, so you never thought of looking for answers. Procrastination is hard because our mind lives in the present. If you have 1 hour of work, but you feel uncomfortable right now, you expect to feel discomfort every single minute of that session. Nobody can work this way and stay motivated, let alone doing that for an entire lifetime. Not only you feel like giving up, but your work quality decreases. You wanted to do more with less, but instead you're getting less by doing more. That's what happens when you don't build momentum. Now, try working for a few minutes and see what happens. You will find that your mental state has completely changed. And that, my friend, is momentum. The secret to get hours of focused work with no willpower. I know what you're thinking right now. Are you telling me that the secret is to just do it? What a secret. Of course, it's not that simple. There's a step-by-step process to get there. Your biggest challenge isn't procrastination, but limiting beliefs. I don't know where to start, so I'll probably waste my time. Work is hard, so it's not worth it. Or I don't know if I'll get it right, so I may not get any reward from it. There's no way to stop procrastinating unless you address first what's on your mind. But as I said, you don't need any mindset techniques, only momentum. If you practice these techniques, you're gonna get 30 minutes of work easily. And after you beat that mark, there's a high chance you enter the flow state. And that allows you to get hours of focused work for basically zero effort. The first obstacle in your way to productivity is what I call ambiguity. And if you don't fix that, you're gonna be stuck not knowing where to start your project. There's a catch-22 here. You often don't want to work because you don't know what to do, but you don't know what to do until you take the first step. You kinda know what you need to do, but is it clear enough? To find out, ask yourself this. How do you know you've completed the project? What's the first thing you need to do? What's the main challenge of this project? You know you have clarity when you don't spend any time thinking of these decisions. That's what focus work looks like. For me, what happens is it's very easy to procrastinate if I don't know what I should be doing. And in order to fix that, what I do is one of the next 3 strategies. So choose whatever you like the most. So the first one is brainstorming. All you need to do is grab a piece of paper. I like to use this Moleskine notebook, a pen, I like the Uniballs, and you write everything you need to do with no order in particular. And so the goal here is to keep writing until you feel like you wrote down everything that you had in your mind. Because you freed your mind onto that piece of paper or that notebook, you now have enough mental RAM to prioritize. And basically you're gonna look at your list and organize those ideas and remove what is not essential. So that is my first piece of advice. My second one is improving the way you plan your work. Yes, working can be hard. but it's a lot less intimidating to research instead because you don't know what to do yet. Because it's easier, you can start doing that first. Give yourself 10 minutes where you have to create an action plan. And again, I like to do this in my computer here, and then I just write down in this same notebook. I just write all the things that I've researched and I think that are actionable on the task that I need to do. But the thing is, research by itself doesn't move the needle. Plus, it's too easy to get lost in the weeds with a broad project. And so what I like to do is I like to set a time limit for my research. Normally it's about 20-30 minutes that I'm gonna use to proactively do research. And so that time limit really focuses you to be intentional in your research purposes. That motivates you to keep working and avoid procrastination. And by the way, you don't need to know every single step. As long as you know the next step, the next action that you need to take, that's all it takes at this moment. The third exercise is so simple, yet people overlook it all the time, because it all starts by asking the most basic questions. We often keep all of our projects in our heads, and that makes it hard for us to know what we know and what we don't. And sometimes you really feel like, what am I really trying to do here? You're 5 steps ahead, but you've skipped 1 without realizing. So when you actually sit down and try to do the work, you find a block. So what you want to do here is really ask yourself the basic questions, the simplest ones. Why is this project important? What's the main action this work is about? Does the order matter, or I can start whatever I want? What are the conditions to consider this project successful? You're much more likely to succeed when you know what you're doing. You now know what the project is about, but is it simple enough to start? Not until you define your atomic step. Atomic steps are tasks that are so small that you can complete them within 2 minutes without even thinking. And after you finish one, you're more likely to do another, and then another one, and then another one. And you know why? Because it's so small, it rewards your brain more often. You're basically shortening the feedback loop of action. Action, reward. Action, reward. Every 2 minutes, you're giving your brain that dopamine hit that something was completed successfully. It's the same feeling when you're working from a to-do list. It feels good to tick off those boxes as you complete those tasks. So we can use the same feeling and that trick to generate momentum as well. All you need to do is break big tasks into small tasks, small 2-minute tasks to shorten that feedback loop. So here's how you create an atomic step. You take the project you want to complete and define what a work session would look like. For example, if you're writing an article, you can break it down into micro tasks. First one being research 3 websites, then you write the next paragraph, then you add link references to the article. You get the idea, it's just breaking down into smaller tasks. And at the same time, you can even break down these tasks into smaller ones. The moment you reduce the task to under 2 minutes, you have an atomic step. Now you may be thinking that it feels a little bit more complex to have like this to-do list with like 100 items. But it really isn't, because the smaller the action is, the easier it is to break it down. And you don't have to do this every single time. When you have projects that are very similar to each other, you can create a checklist for that category. But sometimes the project is new, or you haven't done a project that is similar to this one. And so when that happens, all you need to know is what the next action is. That is more than enough to get started. Because once you complete that first step, then step 2 becomes evident. You don't need to know everything, you just need to know the next step. And so now you're finally ready to learn the 2-minute rule. And maybe you already know this technique, let me know in the comments if you do. And then I'm gonna show you an advanced version of the 2-minute rule. What makes this rule so powerful is the way that you approach work. You're probably using it all the time already. Every time you tell yourself to distract for 2 more minutes, you're using this tactic. Next thing you know is you spend hours procrastinating. So now you can revert this process to use it for productivity instead of procrastination. You're just telling your brain that you're gonna focus for just 2 more minutes, just 2 more minutes of work. And hopefully this will turn into hours of focused work. But the problem is you can't lie to yourself. Your brain isn't stupid. Very quickly it'll start picking up the cues and stop believing you.
You lie!
And so my approach is a little bit different. If you want to work for 2 minutes only, let yourself stop after 2 minutes. But if you want to keep working, you're free to do so. And because you know your atomic steps, it's easy to keep going. Sure, try to get done as much work as possible, but always keep your work expectations at 2 minutes of work. And if you do that, you're gonna end up working far longer. And so the 2-minute rule works because it presents to your brain as the easiest thing in the world. It's much more intimidating to say, I'm gonna work for 2 hours straight. But 2 minutes? I can do that without preparation. So you know how to get started. But if you're gonna work for longer than 2 minutes, what's your actual work length? How long will it last? That depends on how well you use the next strategy, the reverse 2-minute rule. So you might work for 30 minutes or 5 hours. At some point, you're gonna feel like you need to stop. And that's when you're gonna use the reverse strategy. The 2-minute rule puts you to work. The reverse rule prevents you from stopping. How exactly do you achieve this? You do this by delaying your decisions. Let's say you really want to stop working. Don't just react to that thought immediately. Instead, set a 2-minute timer on your phone, on your computer, and say, fine, I'm free to quit after 2 minutes more. And when the alarm goes off, you have a choice now. Do you want to quit or can you bear for 2 minutes more? If the task matters to you and you've gained momentum, you will choose the last one. And whenever you feel like quitting, you delay the decision again. You don't quit because of emotion, but because of logic. You don't stop because of discomfort. You stop because of work satisfaction. And that is exactly the right time to take a break. There's a right and a wrong way to take breaks. The wrong one is falling to distractions. The right one is staying productive. Now, it's the time to do all those things you do when procrastinating. You can have a walk, clean your house, eat something, work out, have a shower, meditate, reply to emails, and so on. With these tasks, you can now stop thinking about work while still being productive. And once the break is over, you have so much momentum that it's second nature to keep moving. As for how long you should take a break, it really depends on how long you worked. I personally don't use a timer for taking breaks. What I normally do is I wait until my brain is not thinking about work anymore, and that is the signal that I know I'm ready to get back to work. With these strategies, you're now ready to crush your to-do list. But here's the thing, this video doesn't work by itself. You need to remember to apply these techniques. And now you're in control of your time. Whenever you have work to do, you just use these strategies and get things done lightning fast. With practice, you'll start to feel like you can work almost without effort. And people will think you're a superhuman. But the question is, are you using your momentum for the right type of work? Momentum may make it more fun to work, but it doesn't guarantee any results if you don't apply it the right way at the right time. And that's why I highly recommend you check out this video where I talk about my best productivity secret. This way you'll get the most work done while enjoying what you do. So go watch it right now. Bye bye.